Bodybuilding.com was sold last week, and I bet you didn't even realize it. Remember when I was talking about those two billionaires that held Bodybuilding.com's fate in their hands? Those are obviously two different entities. Barry Diller owns his own kind of companies, holding companies, things like that. And then you have John Malone owns his own holding companies, a ton of different things with Liberty Media. Yep, they finally made their first move. Let's take a look back at some of my earlier videos. They're trying to create a transaction before there's this period, and I think it's in May. I might have been onto something. And if not, hey, I mean, maybe the asset's worth something to somebody. I'm not exactly sure who that could be. I've speculated a few times. My second kind of outlandish prediction is that Bodybuilding.com is actually going to be sold by Liberty Media. I think at this point, Liberty Media has basically written off the investment from, I think, 2008. I guess that prediction was technically right. So Expedia Group has agreed to a stock swap with Liberty Media for the Liberty Expedia holding company. So Liberty Expedia holding company is where Vitalize LLC, or what everybody knows as Bodybuilding.com, is housed. So that is changing hands from Liberty Media to Expedia Group. And the holding company Liberty Expedia Holdings might confuse people into them thinking that Expedia Group and Liberty Media are actually the same company, just different offshoots from the same owners. But Expedia Group is owned by Barry Diller. Liberty Media is owned by John Malone. Now, Barry Diller and John Malone have a long business history together from their media days. They've been in business in various different forms and functions for decades at this point, but they are very different entrepreneurs. They have different business interests. They have different holdings in a multitude of different businesses. So don't want you guys to get confused and think it's actually just some movement of a business from one holding company to another. And I won't get into the specifics of the transaction. You guys can read about the millions of shares that are going to be traded from this person to this person, voting rights and proxies and things that were a part of the contract from many years ago. But they're saying this transaction is going to be finalized sometime in summer of 2019, so this summer. So with Bodybuilding.com moving from Liberty Media, the media conglomerate that owns tons of different media and entertainment type of entities, is now moving over to the Expedia Group. Now let me explain to you guys a little bit about Expedia Group, just because I'm sure the name makes you guys assume some things, but just want to drill in a little bit of the names, the web domains that the Expedia Group owns. So you have Expedia, you have hotels.com, you have Trivago, you have HomeAway, Vacation Rentals by Owner, or VRBO, Orbitz, Travelocity, Hotwire, CarRentals.com, and a ton of different other web travel and search domains. So out of all of those names that I mentioned, do you see any synergies to Bodybuilding.com? Any commerce type of synergies? Any categorical synergies? Do you have any resources that you think would be very easily shifted over to Bodybuilding.com to create some confidence in a turnaround? In one of those earlier videos, I talked about who would ultimately hold the Bodybuilding.com name, who would think it was valuable. My guess is that Expedia Group is not going to hold on to this asset. Who potentially would want to pick up Bodybuilding.com? Does it have any value out there for somebody? And I think the first one that most people are going to kind of go towards is right towards maybe their biggest competitor, Amazon. Would Amazon pick it up on a fire sale and basically maybe roll it in? Amazon is making some kind of unique content decisions. You're seeing them make some moves that maybe makes you think that they possibly could do this. They also would just take out their biggest internet retail competitor for like sports nutrition and nutritional supplements. So maybe it just makes sense to pick it up to get rid of the competition. Another interesting thought is maybe Walmart. Walmart is one of those companies that's making a lot of internet retail transactions. They're making these acquisitions in these names that are kind of leaders in terms of specialty areas within the internet. So maybe they see some value there. I think that has to do with maybe their aspirations for some of the health kind of categories. I know with Amazon, that is their biggest consumables category at this point. It's bigger than grocery. So there's a lot of money to be made with kind of this health, vitamins, minerals kind of section. And maybe Walmart pick up the bodybuilding.com name to compete against their heated competition with Amazon. And then another kind of maybe interesting one is, where is Google into all this? Like, what is their shopping experience going to look like? Between Google and Facebook, those two players are going to get into retailing somehow in a bigger way in the next 18 months. Do they look at, an asset like that, pick it up cheap, find some value, extract some value out of it? I'm not sure. I don't think from a physical standpoint, either of the GNCs or the vitamin shops pick it up. They don't have the capitalization to handle it at this point. I don't think that's where the value's at for those retailers. So I don't think either one of them are going to play with it. Now, in that earlier video, I was talking about, outside strategic people that might be interested in the asset. But to add to this video and just maybe throw out other ideas, one that might happen is to look internally at Barry Diller and his various businesses that he owns. The main holding company that Barry Diller is a part of and owns and started that is outside of the Expedia Group is Interactive Corp, or IAC, which is a stock ticker also traded. This is a holding company made up of the Match Group, which doesn't necessarily have anything to do with bodybuilding.com, but this is the holder of Match.com, Tinder, Plenty of Fish, ton of other dating sites. Then you have a publishing arm. You have an applications area, which is mostly around web and smartphone applications. Then you have a home services area, which has Home Advisor, Angie's List. All of these don't really have, again, much synergies, much of help to the bodybuilding.com name, but there's one last section of IAC that might be interesting, that might have some value to the bodybuilding.com name. And this is their video section. In the video part of IAC, you have College Humor, you have Vimeo, which is kind of like another YouTube, but then you have DailyBurn. So DailyBurn, if you're not aware of them, they are a health and fitness company that provides workouts and nutrition programs on a variety of web, mobile, and TV apps. DailyBurn has streaming workout videos from master trainers, and from numbers that I could see from about 2007, they said they had about 2.5 million subscribers. I don't know if that number has decreased or increased since that point, but we'll just use the 2.5 million subscribers as just a number to kind of look at. So just on face value, at least these have very close proximity to each other. You guys know with the bodybuilding.com shifting some of their content strategies over to a paywall and them focusing a lot around that content and creating value around that content. Some of the programs and some of the ones that have very deep content libraries associated with them, they move this past the paywall, which falls right in line with DailyBurn, what they're doing right here. So I see some synergies, I see some availability for this to create something new and exciting. So if Barry Diller completes a transaction with Expedia Group, he could then shift that bodybuilding.com Vitalize LLC asset over to IAC and hold this into their media video area where they have DailyBurn, and could kind of create a streaming over the top fitness type of channel that provides both paid nutrition and workout content, but also has the ability to have commerce side of selling the nutritional supplements. 2.5 million subscribers is a lot of subscribers. Don't really have a one-to-one comparison that I could put out there for what that actually equates to with potential revenue, but if we do look at a number like the Vitamin Shop that has 6 million Healthy Rewards members, and 90% of their $1.1 billion comes from these rewards members. Even on the low end of any type of modeling that we could create to try to figure out what type of revenue that DailyBurn could add to the bodybuilding.com storefront, still at this past year, 2018, they had about $225 million in revenue. It still could create a material difference to bodybuilding.com's revenue base if they somehow integrate these two businesses together. Now this is all speculation. I don't know if any of this is true. This is just me kind of following the breadcrumbs in certain areas, obviously making some leaps from one thing to another. These are not clean lines, but just trying to make sense of this transaction, make sense of what Expedia Group will do with the asset. And I obviously threw out some different ideas before this transaction went through, where bodybuilding.com was still part of Liberty Media. I still thought Liberty Media was going to sell this business to somebody else in the future. So we'll see where this ends up going. Follow along. I'll make sure that I do consistently update you guys on any new happenings. From what I know right now, the Expedia Group is going to take the asset in summer. What they do with it after that point, I'm not exactly sure, but I'll make sure that I update you guys either through video like this or on any of my social media. All of those links are down below. Make sure you guys do give me a follow on any of those. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you want to help support me, make sure you guys hit that thumbs up button on this video. If this is the first time you've been introduced to my videos, would love for you guys to be a part of my community by subscribing to my channel. I upload several videos just like this weekly. And if you guys want to connect further outside of this platform, I do include all of my social media links down below. I just want to thank you guys again for your time. Hopefully I gave you some value in return, and we'll see you guys on the next video.